Hello everyone, welcome to Knowledge India once again. In this particular video, we will take an example to go ahead and write Terraform code to implement AWS VPC. We have covered a couple of concepts already in the previous videos. So what I've done here is on the left hand side on my screen, you can see I'm using Visual Studio Code, VS Code, to basically type this out, right? And later on, we will go ahead and execute it on the same machine, which we have already set up in the previous videos, right? What I've done is I've just put the necessary provider details and the credential details that just will use the default profile, AWS profile on the machine. The region will be US East 1. So this part we have already discussed. So I've just taken it from the previous file, which we have seen in the other videos. After this, whatever resources we are going to create, we will go ahead and write it from scratch in this video together. And on the right hand side, I have necessary documentation open, right, from the Terraform website. Of course, this also I've shown you earlier. So what we'll do is we will go ahead and create a new VPC, right? And it is quite easy. Of course, you can go ahead and take a considerable construct right from this documentation itself, right? So let's say if I have to create a VPC, right? So for that, I have to talk about that it is a resource, and what is the resource type? It will be AWS underscore VPC. You can see the resource type is this, and then I need to give it a name, right? So what I could do is I can just go ahead and pick up this one, or if I want to specify tags, I can take this one. So let me just take this, I'll just start simply and I'll put this here. I don't want to call it main, just to give it some other name. I'll just call it custom VPC. I'm creating it, and I'll go ahead and give the CIDR range to be 10.0.0.0/26. Instance tenancy. Now, if you remember, when you're creating a VPC, there is a tenancy option which is available, right? So here that attribute is called instance underscore tenancy. This is basically the tenancy dropdown which comes when you're creating a new VPC on the AWS console. So there are like two options. There's a default value which you can choose, and the other one is dedicated. So if you choose the dedicated one, then you cannot launch shared tenancy instances in that VPC, right? I've talked about it already in our networking videos, so you can go ahead and watch that. So for now, we are keeping it default. If you don't give this, then also it will be default, and we are giving some tags as well. So whatever tag value will give, that will appear as part of our VPC. So I just want to call it my custom VPC. Okay, this should create my VPC. That's the first thing. So after creating the VPC, what would you like to do? Now, maybe we'll go ahead and create a couple of subnets in this. Yes, we'll do that. We'll also have to, go and create an internet gateway, right? I mean, if you want that resources should be able to reach out to internet, we require an internet gateway for that. So how do we go ahead and create an internet gateway? Let's say you don't know that, right? In the very start. So what you could do is you can look for internet gateway here in the Terraform documentation, right? So if you come to VPC, within VPC, if you scroll down, you should be able to find internet gateway in this, right? Or you can generally Google it. You can see here there is AWS internet gateway, right? So click on this and you will be able to pick up that how to create an internet gateway. So I'm just going to take this and put it here, right? So the resource is AWS underscore internet gateway. Then we can give it some name. I'm going to call it IGW, right? And then it's very important that this internet gateway should get created in which VPC. If you remember the flow, whenever you're creating an internet gateway, you need to specify that in which VPC is it getting created. What will happen is here I'm saying VPC ID, and for that I need to give the ID of the VPC where I want to create this internet gateway. So how do I specify that? My VPC, which I have created already, its name is custom VPC. So what I should do here is AWS underscore VPC. That's the type of resource dot. I should write here custom VPC, right? And then dot ID. So basically resource type dot resource name dot the attribute in which we are interested. And if we want to apply some tags to this internet gateway, that also we can do. Here we can go ahead and give some name, give some tag. So let's say I'm going to call it my IGW. Okay, so two things done. We have created the VPC, and then we have also created the internet gateway, right? The next thing which we would want to do is, of course, we need to create the necessary subnets, right? We can go ahead and create 2 or 4, how many ever subnets we want. And in order to make use of this, in order to make use of this internet gateway, we'll also have to put a route in the main route table of this VPC. Now we know as a matter of fact, when a VPC gets created, a default route table or I should say main route table gets created along with it, right? So what we would want to do is we will go ahead and create a route in that main route table, right? So what do we need to create? Please listen to this very carefully. What are we going to create? We are going to create a route in the route table, right? So what is the resource type for route? If you go ahead and look here, you should find AWS underscore route, right? So there's AWS underscore route table. If you want to create a new route table, you'll use this. If you want to create a route, you will use this one, right? So what you could do is we can pick up this one, right? And then we will try to modify this. So I'll just pick this and I'll paste it here. So I'm creating a route, right? I can go ahead and call it whatever I want. Let me just call it route IGW, right? And then we need to what we need to do is we have to tell in which route table will this route get created. That's very important, isn't it? So how will you specify the route table? You do not know that what is the route table ID. Here some value is given as like hard coded, right? But we don't want to do this, right? So let's delete this. What we'll do is, as we figured out the VPC ID here, in the same way we will figure out the main route table's ID in a dynamic way. And what should we do for that? Go for AWS underscore VPC, okay, custom VPC, right? Okay. Now within that VPC, what do we want? We want the main route table's ID of this VPC. How can you find out that what should we write after this? So the way to understand that, or the way to find out, is go to the documentation and go to AWS VPC resource type and try to look at all the different attributes which are available, okay, in this. So let's try to see attribute references, right? So in this, if you scroll down and see, there is tags all, and you can see here there is one thing called main route table ID. The ID of the main route table associated with this VPC. This attribute you can use to fetch the ID for the main route table. So in a dynamic way, if I put here, let me just copy this thing so that I'm not making any mistake. Basically, I have specified that this new route which I'm creating, it will get created in which route table? It will get created in the main route table of my VPC. Okay, now when you are creating a route, what do you specify? You specify that what will be the destination, right? Like if the traffic is destined to go to a certain side or range, you should send it to a particular destination, isn't it? So what we'll do is the destination cider block here we will specify as 0.0.0.0/0, right? So you know that if the traffic is destined to go to internet, that is when we send it to the internet gateway. Now how do you specify the internet gateway, right? So basically we need to revisit our uh, AWS route definition. We'll have to revisit that, okay, to find this out. Basically, we should be able to specify our internet gateway ID here. So let's go to AWS route again. See, we are trying to do it step by step so that you understand that how do you go ahead and figure it out on your own when you are writing it new. So if you actually scroll down in this, you will see here there is something called gateway ID, identifier of a VPC, internet gateway or virtual private gateway. So whenever you have to put a route, okay, in which you want to specify the target, right, the target as the as an internet gateway or as a virtual private gateway, at that time you will use this attribute, which is gateway underscore ID. So what I will do is I'll just first get rid of these two things, okay, and I will write here gateway ID, right, and equals, and what I can do is, because I have already created the internet gateway above, I can just specify that particular internet gateway's ID, isn't it? So how do I do that? Very simple. Let me just pick up from here. First, resource type, very simple, put resource type dot igw dot id, right? If you want, you can even go ahead and figure out that here should I write ID only. How do you find that out? You can just go ahead and look at AWS internet gateway, right, and look at all its attributes, right? You can see ID of the internet gateway. So if I want ID of the internet gateway, this is how I can find the name of the attribute really from the documentation. So here I've written AWS internet gateway dot igw, because igw is the name of the resource which I gave here, dot id, right? So basically now in my main route table, I have added a route as well. The next thing which I want to do is I want to go ahead and create a subnet in this VPC, okay, a subnet. So let's look at the documentation again. Here is AWS underscore subnet, and in very simple way here you can understand that how can we go ahead and create a subnet. So let me just copy and paste it here. So resource AWS subnet, then let me give it a name. For now we will go ahead and just create two public subnets. Later on we'll create private subnets as well, okay? So I'm creating a first one which I'm calling pub A, and what I'll do is here I will put custom VPC, right? Of course, custom VPC dot ID. So basically in which VPC this subnet should get created, that part I have specified here, that it should get created in the custom VPC, and basically that VPC's ID I'm passing here. What should be the CIDR block for this particular subnet? So I will say that it should be 0.0/28, okay, and here I'll give it name as well, public A, so though specifying the availability zone is optional, right, but I would highly recommend that you do that. So let's scroll down and see availability underscore zone, right? This is how you specify the availability zone attribute. So what I could do is just go here and press enter, and what I'll do is availability, right, zone is equal to, and I want to create this one in US East 1A, okay. All right, so with this my one subnet will get created, and there will be a tag applied to it as well, which will be public -a, and within Terraform context I am naming it as pub -a, right, and this is the CIDR block for it. I've given its availability zone as well. Great. What I could do is, let me copy and paste this thing, and I will call this pub B, right? So this is public subnet in the basically in the availability zone B, right? And I have changed its CIDR block as well. I'll change its AZ information here, and I will change the tag value as well. Okay, all right. So let's stop at this point, and we can come back to this and try to extend this further. So just to summarize, what we have done here is, and it will be very easy to just show you in this manner. If I, yep, very easy. So see here, first in the two sections we have just specified some Terraform provider details and that which region is getting used, right? After that we are creating an AWS VPC, and then we created an internet gateway, and then we added a route for that particular internet gateway, okay, in the main route table of this VPC which got created, right? After that we have gone ahead and created two subnets. Now we have not done any specific subnet association at this point, so automatically the default route table will get used, right? Because we have not done any explicit subnet route table association at this point. So what I would like to do is I'll go ahead and basically make use of this template and execute it, and we'll see that what gets created. And after that we can very well go ahead and we can try to create another route table if you want altogether as well. And I can show you how to do custom subnet association as well. Okay, so let's go ahead. What I'll do is I'll just upload this file to my EC2 instance where I have Terraform set up in place, and then we'll go ahead and execute it. Okay, let's move ahead. What I'll do is I'll just create a new folder here which I'll call TF VPC, right? And let me get inside this folder. Sorry. And I will go ahead and download that file. Okay. All right. So I have got the the main.tf file here. Right. Whatever we prepared now, that's available. Right. Good. So before I go ahead and execute this, right, what I want to do is I want to show you that here in this account in the Northern Virginia region, I just have one default VPC which comes pre-created. So what I'll do is I'll now go ahead and execute Terraform here, right? So let's initialize. Good. All right. So let's validate once as well. Okay. And then I'll say Terraform apply. So Terraform would of course look at all the configuration which is written, and it says that okay, looks fine. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and create a couple of things. What are those couple of things? We'll go ahead and create an internet gateway. We'll go ahead and create a route table, of course subnet, right? Two subnets and a custom VPC. Now don't worry, I mean it won't happen that Terraform will go ahead and create the subnet first and then VPC, because that would not make sense. Terraform is smart enough to create it in the right order, right? So it will first go ahead and create the VPC and then the other thing. So if you can see, total 5 resources will get created. Are you okay for that? I'll say yes. So let it do that now. So first it is creating the VPC, as you can see, and let me just go here and refresh this, and we should see that my custom VPC has been created with the CIDR block which I had mentioned, right? Now if I go to the subnets, yeah, so we have got two subnets created here, public A and public B, right? These are of course the tag values, public A, and if you look at its CIDR block, this is the what I had specified, 10.0.0.0/28 and 0.16/28. And if we look at its availability zone, the first one is in US East 1A, second one is there in US East 1B, right? Of course, both of these would be using the main route table, which is this one. We can of course go via route tables as well. And if I expand this, you can see this first one is the one created in my custom VPC. This is the main route table of my custom VPC. And if I scroll down and go to routes, you can see there is a route added here which says 10.0.0 sorry, this is the default one. This is the one which we added, right? Which says if the destination is traffic going to internet, it should go to the IGW, right? So you can see, of course, you can also go ahead and look at the internet gateway, right? This my IGW is the one which got created by the Terraform, right? You can see my IGW. This is the name which I had mentioned as well, which we can very well see here, right? If I expand this, you can see my IGW is what I had given. So you just now saw that how we were able to go ahead and create VPC and all the other things. Now, if you want, you can go ahead and further expand this and very well create a new route table possible, right? So what I'll do is I'll not go ahead and further write it. I'll leave that to you as an exercise. Go ahead and try to do that. I'll just give you an idea. You can expand this exercise further, and what you can do is you can go ahead and have an additional route table in your VPC, right? You can go ahead and look at AWS route table, use this resource type and create a route table. And then because it's a private route table, it will have a default route already. You don't need to add any additional route, right? And then what you need to do is you can go ahead and create two more subnets, which will be private subnets, right? And then you need to associate those two private subnets to this newly created route table. How would you do that? You can go ahead and use AWS route table association. Look at this, provides a resource to create an association between a route table and a subnet, or a route table and an internet gateway or virtual private gateway, right? So what you need to do is you need to create this association. In this, you will specify the route table ID which you have newly created, right? You'll have to specify that, and you need to specify your subnet ID, right? And here the subnet ID would be that of your private subnet. Now, because you are creating two private subnets, you will have to create two resources of AWS route table association type. So that way, explicit association of your route table, newly created private route table, will happen with your private subnets, right? So I'll leave it to you as an exercise. Go ahead and do that. What I'll also do is I will link this particular template which I have written as a public URL in the video description. So go ahead, download it, and after that try to further add whatever I told you and execute it on your end. Go ahead and do it hands-on. You will learn it because of that. So I hope you learned something from that video. If you did, please share it with someone and help others also to learn this. We are trying to cover Terraform in a simple manner by just taking some simple example. It's not very difficult really. If you want, you can just go ahead and learn it from the available resources. Okay, but it's very important that you go ahead and try it in your account. Make your hands dirty. So we will come up with another video very soon. Okay, what you could also do is you may choose to parameterize this particular file by removing the hard-coded values like CIDR blocks from this particular file and passing those values via variable. I've already shown you in the previous videos how to create a variables.tf file. So go ahead and create a variables.tf file and specify necessary variables in that particular file. And via those variables, you can provide the CIDR range for different subnets. So go ahead and try to do that as well as an exercise. Okay, I'll close this video at this point. If you are interested in watching a lot of cloud related videos, go ahead and look at the other videos which are there on our channel. We'll see you again. Take care. Goodbye.